Hari Om to everyone else. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahabhiryam Karvavahai Tejasvinhavadhet Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Guru Paramparaya Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Today we will start the desired thing of Vedanta, the miracle of Vedanta. The beauty of Vedanta. The Vedanta claims that there has not been one religious inspiration, one manifestation of the divine man. However, great, but it has been the expression of that infinitude or infinite oneness in human nature. And all that we call ethics and morality and doing good to others is also but the manifestation of this oneness. There are moments when every man feels that he is one with the universe. And he rules forth to express it, whether he knows it or not. This expression of oneness is what we call love and sympathy. And it is the basis of all our ethics and morality. This is summed up in the Vedanta philosophy by the celebrated aphorism or mantra Tat Tvam Asi. According to the old English pattern, thou art that. According to modern English, you are that. I am the infinite. Only I am not conscious of it now. But I am struggling to get this consciousness of the infinite. And perfection will be reached when full consciousness of this infinite comes. After this long discussion on the various aspects of Vedanta, Tattva Bodha has made it clear to us that we are not the body, not the mind, not the intellect, not the pranas, the vital air, and not the causal body also, Karana Sharira. We are something beyond. The goal of life is to know that. The work is only the first step, or karma. Any sorts of karma is the first step. Puja, worship, prayer, doing japa, or any sorts of sadhana which is under karma, this is only the first step. It can never be the goal of life. So great sages say, devote yourself to spiritual practice and go forward. Through practice, you will advance more and more in the path of God. At last, you will come to know that God alone is real. And all else is illusory. And that the goal of life is the attainment of God. Sri Ramakrishna says, the jiva is nothing but the embodiment of Satchidananda Brahma. But since Maya or ego has created various upadhis, yesterday's class I have explained what is upadhi. So, due to the various upadhis, he has forgotten his real self. One can get rid of the ego after the attainment of knowledge. On attaining knowledge, one goes into samadhi and the ego disappears. There may be the question when ego will go and I will realize the God, or after realization the God, my ego will go. Because ঈশ্বরে আকর্ষণ, সংসারে বিকর্ষণ হলো আধ্যাত্মিক উন্নতির লক্ষণ. The sign of my spiritual growth, that whether I am getting too much attached with the samsara or not, or I am going towards Ishvara or Lord or not. Suppose I am moving somewhere else, I am going, I have a goal, and within a stipulated time I have to reach over there. And you know the roads of West Bengal right now. Suppose anyhow I fell down, some darts, and I'm very much fascinated about my clothings. What should I do? I will start managing the clothings or I will go back. I could if I had eternal time. If I had limited times, fixed time, then I have to take the decision that I have to run. In the rhythm of my running, all the darts will go apart. আমার চলার ছন্দে আমার শরীরে মনে লেগে থাকা ময়লা ঝরে পড়বে। Likewise, संसार को छोड़ने का ज्यादा कोशिश मत कीजिए। ये गुरु वाणी बोल रहा हूं। Just love your goal. Everything will fall apart automatically. Scriptures are meant to guide us. Us means I consider myself as an ignorant person. Scriptures know my problems and difficulties and compassionately take us step by step along the path. Tattva Bodha began with what Vedanta is and took us through various concepts of creation and finally told us we jivas are reflection of Brahman, that we have no independent entity. We are nothing but Brahman itself, that infinite being, that infinite consciousness, that infinite bliss absolute, and not limited suffering, weak, timid creatures. But how to know that? That is the next step. Fundamentally, we are not going to know that we are Brahman. We are only removing obstacles to that knowledge we already possess. Turiyanandaji Maharaj, old monk, whole life he spent in sadhana or penance or spiritual practices. At the deathbed, disciple asked him, "What have you got, Swamiji? You spend your whole life in sadhana. Swamiji replied, সাধনা করে এই জানলাম সাধনার দ্বারা তাকে পাওয়া যায় না। The conclusion of my spiritual practice is that with only mere spiritual practice and penance, God is not attained. Because I told you one nyaya, Kanthavarana Chamikarana nyaya. Can you remember? The chain is in my neck And I'm searching. Where should I get it? I have to stand in front of the mirror to acquire that knowledge that it is with me. So, we are only removing obstacles by doing sadhana, puja, jap. To that knowledge we already possess. These obstacles are the products of ignorance. Advaita is a special tradition in this regards. It says to us, come prepared and ready to the Guru. It says a few things and you are liberated. The preparation is everything, it is true. To become a mumukshu, a serious seeker, is everything. The rest is left to the teacher. Hence the teacher is revered immensely in Advaita. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma. Tasmai Sri Gurave. That is the position of Guru in our Advaita tradition. An aspirant begins his journey along the spiritual path by striving to purify his mind, controlling his senses and mind, thinking constantly of his self, and approaching the teacher. The compassionate teacher will teach him the Mahavakya or sadhana which will guide him to truth. The main quest is to know who we really are. It is that Mahavakya which illumines us. We are in our quest to know the truth. We are aware that we are not the body or mind. We are told we are the Supreme. But what is that Supreme? The one greatest power left is God. Are we God? According to Advaita, is Ishvara. Are we Ishvara? Vedanta clarifies to us that the first step is to know that we are not equal to Ishvara or God. Why? Nanu sahankarasya kinchit jnasya nirahankarasya sarvajnasya ishvarasya nirahankarasya sarvajnasya ishvarasya tattvamasi iti mahavakyat tattvamasi iti mahavakyat katham abheda buddhihi syad katham abheda buddhihi syad Ubhayoho, Ubhayoho, Viruddha Dharma Krantatvat, Viruddha Dharma Krantatvat, Iti Chet Na, Iti Chet Na. Now, word for word meaning. Nanu, but sa ahankarasya, sahankarasya, not swa, sa, sa, like sakasha, nivishta, sannivishta, like sahankarasya, of one with ego, kinchit jnasya, of one with limited knowledge, jivasya, of the individual, nirahankarasya, of one without ego, sarvajnasya ishvarasya, of one who is the omniscient Lord, tat, that, tvam, you, asi, are, iti Mahavakyat, the great statement, katham, how, abheda buddhi, vision of oneness, syat, is, ubhayoho, of the two, viruddha dharma akrantatvat, being of opposite nature. So what is the meaning? There is a question, means doubt. So what is the full translation of this? But the individual is endowed with ego and his knowledge is limited, whereas the Lord is without ego and is omniscient. Then how can there be identity as stated in the great statement that thou art or you are that? Between these two, who are possessed of contradictory characteristics? The thing is, nanu means doubt. So, somebody raising question. So, ahankara is the notion of individuality. Jeev has ahankara, jiva has ahankara. Ishvara has no ahankara. They are two opposite nature. So, how they both two will be one? So somebody raised the question, but it should be from a serious sadhaka, not a random question. Okay. So who is actually opposing this philosophy? So when anyone is opposing the Advaita philosophy, we call them Purva Paksha, who have different way of thinking. He is a student. The objection is who has ahamkara means the strong sense of finitude, and Ishvara, where ego is zero. How come there will be oneness? Syat means reasoning, showing the reasoning. Reason means in Sanskrit it is called hetu. So the thing is, one is mayadhin, one is mayadhish. So suppose a criminal, heavyweight criminal. So when he goes from prison to the court, high security, a lot of cops are there. So the criminal is surrounded by the cops. And the heavyweight minister is going. He is also surrounded by the cops. This thing, the criminal is controlled by the cops, and in second case, the cops are controlled by the minister. That was the reasoning of the Purva Paksha, the student, that how you can tell that both are same. The very goal of human life is to realize one's own true nature, and the very purpose of the Vedas is to gain the knowledge of the self. The statements in the Vedas that indicate the unity of the individual and the infinite truth are called Mahavakyas. I will come what is Mahavakya and everything else. I will explain it in detail by the grace of Guru. Mahavakya are great statements. Many such statements are there, are found in Vedas. Many, many, many. But four of them, means one from each Veda, are very famous. One amongst them is Tattvamasi, meaning you are that, or that thou art, that you are. It is found in the Chandogya Upanishad, chapter 6 of the Samaveda, in a dialogue between sage Uddalaka and his disciple son Swetaketu. The Guru explains that the truth alone existed before creation. Sadeva Saumya idamagre asit. From it emerged the entire creation like gold ornaments from gold. That truth or tat alone are asi, you, tvam, states sage Uddalaka. Some people are shocked at hearing this seeming blasphemous statement that the Lord Ishvara and I are one. Others clearly dismiss it as exaggeration used in praise of the individual. Some others feel that what is meant herein is that the individual is like the Lord, as he has inherited certain characteristics of him. However, what is actually meant in the Upanishad is that there is total identity or oneness between the two. But how is that possible? The individual, as we know, is finite, with limited knowledge, alpagnya, limited strength, alpashaktiman, is like a dot in the universe, alpavyapi, is deluded by Maya. That is why they are called, or he is called as Maya Dasa, the slave of his own ignorance, is dependent upon the world for everything, hopelessly entangled in actions and full of sorrows and problems. The Lord, on the other hand, is infinite, omniscient or sarvagnya, omnipotent or all strength, sarva shaktiman, omnipresence or all pervading, sarva vyapi, controls Maya. That is why he is called Mayapati, independent of actions and is unaffected by results of action, and it's all joy. The thing is, with ego and without ego, with limited knowledge and omniscience, the limited beings ourselves are embodiment of ego. We have thus limited ourselves to small circles. We are very proud of ourselves and our little achievements. We build up our own little worlds and our egos. Our edifice is false, and so is our base. The unlimited Ishvara is egoless. God is a circle whose center is everywhere. This is the definition of infinite. Just think. God is a circle whose center is everywhere. This is the fundamental difference between Ishvara and Jiva. The second fundamental difference between us is we are of limited intellect and knowledge, while Ishvara is all-knowing. Ishvara is the sum total of all souls and more. He is the creator, preserver, and destroyer of the universe, and much more. The Jiva is a limited being with no such powers. So how can the two be one? How can the lamp and the sun be one? So the comparison between Ishvara and ourselves, and calling ourselves Ishvara, would be nothing but, impudence, arrogance. Yet the Upanishads declare that we are that. The Guru teaches that we are that. What is the meaning of that? That we will discuss. When two or more meaningful words are placed in a meaningful order, a meaningful sentence is created. As they say, a sentence should at least have a subject and a predicate. Sentence should convey some complete meaning. There are sentence and sentences. Go there is as much as a sentence as pray to God. But one has a very ordinary connotation while the other has a deep significance. An ordinary speaker speaks hours after hours, beating around the bush, but may not be able to convey what he wants to say at all. Another speaker may say a few words and fill the listeners' hearts with joy and minds with understanding. A great author uses a few sentences to convey his ideas clearly, whereas an ordinary writer may write a huge book to convey nothing. Take this sentence for example, Jack and Jill went up the hill. There was a hill and two children climbed up that hill. That is all the meaning of it conveys. This is a meaningful sentence called Samsrishtartha Vakya. There are three different things here: Jack, Jill, and the hill. Jack, Jill, and the hill. And the children, and they're going up. Take this sentence, dense white fumes. Here, the sentence, though somewhat meaningful, goes to say something about fumes alone. Such sentences are called akhandartha vakyas in Sanskrit. According to philosophers, any sentence should have three qualities for it to convey correct, comprehensible, and complete meaning. These are the following. What are they? First one is yajnata or yagyata. Meaningful connection between the words in a sentence. Like John horse cricket are merely three words but have no meaning, no interconnection. Okay. Second one is asakti. Timely pronouncement of words, that is syntactical expression with proper timing. To say I today and shall tomorrow and eat 10 days later will not do. And number three is akanksha. The meaningful expression of words while carrying the bucket is all right as a sentence, but the question what next remains. Akanksha. So the words in a sentence should be arranged syntactically well, pronounced at the right moments, and must not give room for ambiguity. The mutual relationship between words and phrases should be strong for a sentence to be complete. What is the difference between Vakyas and Mahavakyas? Ordinary sentences called Vakyas convey ordinary meanings. But there are some rare sentences that can convey a huge philosophy in just a few words. These are called great sentences or Mahavakyas. The difference between a Vakya and a Mahavakya is that while the ordinary sentence conveys a direct or an implied meaning only, a great sentence can liberate an individual. The Vedas are divided into 4 groups: Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. Each Veda has several Upanishads as its end portion or culmination, not end portion, culmination. There are more than popular 108 Upanishads, of which 4 contribute a great sentence each. Tattvamasi is from Chandogya Upanishad, 6.9.4. Aham Brahmasmi is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 1.4.10. Ayamatma Brahma is from Mandukya Upanishad, 2nd mantra. And Prajnanam Brahma is from Aitareya Upanishad, 5.3. These sentences are generally taught to monks and nuns by their monastic teachers. This is because Advaita was predominantly a monastic tradition, though of late all study and try to practice it. The Guru teaches this sentence to the disciple. The disciple may, if he is a fit aspirant, become illumined the moment he hears it. But how? According to Advaitins, the moment the sentence is heard, its meaning flashes in the competent aspirant, and the mental modification arises in mind, which is called the Akhandakara Akarita Vritti. The modification of the shape of the immutable. This vritti first of all destroys ignorance enveloping the self or Atma. Second, destroys the products of ignorance like the mind. Thirdly, itself gets destroyed. If the aspirant is not ready, he may meditate on its meaning and be liberated in time. Aditya Poddarji, please mute your phone forever. It is coming. Please don't unmute yourself. You please leave the mobile phone aside. I will mute you from here. You please keep it. Don't touch it. It is getting muted and unmuted, muted and unmuted. Okay. So the thing is, of all the four great sentences, Tattvamasi is famous. It was told by his teacher to Svetaketu, a mere child. And the child became illumined. It means you are that. Swami Vivekananda was also fond of it. For he says, but this is my attempt, my mission in life to show that the Vedantic schools are not contradictory, that they all necessitate or necessitate each other, all fulfill each other, and one, as it were, is the stepping stone to the other until the goal, the Advaita, that Tattvam Asi is reached. The author of Tattvabodha has used that great sentence here. By listening to this statement from the spiritual teacher, the general aspirant is confused initially. Who is he really? Is he Ishvara? Ishvara and Jiva cannot be one. And the name and the same because there are difference in knowledge and egos. As human beings, a professor and an idiot may be the same, but we cannot equate them in everything. We cannot, for instance, ask the idiot to give classes. Ishvara and Jiva are the same because their essence is the same. They are two because of the enveloping ignorance, hence their difference. They are essentially Brahman. We shall end this section by saying something, that there is only one being, one existence, the ever-blessed, the omnipresent, the omniscient, the birthless, the deathless. Wherever there are two, there is fear. Dvaitadvai bhayam bhavati. There is danger, there is conflict, there is strife, there is confusion, there is doubt, there is anxiety, there is depression. When it is all one, Who is there to hate? Who is there to struggle with? When it is all he or she, capital, with whom can explains the true nature of being. This is perfection. And this is God. As long as you see the many, you are under delusion. In this world of many, he who sees the one, in this ever-changing world, he who sees him or her, capital word, who never changes as the soul of his own soul and his own self, he is free. He is blessed. He has reached the goal. Therefore, know that you are he. You are the God of his universe, of this universe. Tattvam asi. Anything to say? It was understandable that the student cannot accept that the individual and the Lord are one. As the vision, so the world and the Lord appeared to us. Yatha drishti tatha srishti. To a villagers, the town is big, but to the urban dweller, city dweller, the village it is small. Similarly, when we look at Ishvara from the standpoint of our conditioning, we can see only the conditioning of the Lord and therefore conclude that we are different from him. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi was asked if the Lord was with or without form and qualities. He replied, it depends on what you think you are. If you think you are with form, then the God too is with form. If you think you are formless, then the God too, being formless, is one with you. A sentence has two meanings. One is called Vachyartha, or the literal meaning. Herein, each word is understood literally and put together as a sentence to give us a particular meaning. For example, the dog barks. The indicative meaning, another one portion of a sentence, that is called Lakshyartha. Here, the literal meaning is rejected and the implied meaning is understood. For example, he is a lion. This sentence does not mean that the man is literally a lion, but that he is brave like a lion. The statement, that you are, should not be taken literally, but in its implied sense. The literal meaning of thou or you is the individual identified with the three bodies, the three states, Jagrat, Swapna, Susupti, three bodies, Sthula, Shukshma, Karana, and the five seeds, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manamaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. So, this gives rise to the notion, I am a changing finite entity. When the self, free from all conditionings, all upadhis, free from all upadhis, is experienced, I realize that I am existence, consciousness, bliss. This state of realization is called samadhi. Similarly, from the standpoint of the conditioning or from the standpoint of the upadhi, of the totality, the Lord is the creator, sustainer and destroyer of this universe. Swami Turiyanandaji was asked again in the deathbed that, oh my beloved teacher, please give me the final teaching. And he told Brahma Satya Jagat Satya. Just like Ramana Maharshi ji, Bhagavan Ravana Maharshi. You are in which standpoint that concludes your decision. Your standpoint drives you to the goal. So, this state of realization is called samadhi, I told. Similarly, from the standpoint of upadhi or conditioning, of the totality, the Lord is the creator, sustainer and destroyer of the universe. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Karta. Free of all the conditionings of Maya. He is an essence, existence, consciousness, bliss. Thus, in essence, the individual and the Lord are one. This is realized only when our attention shifts from the upadhi to nirupadhi, conditionings to unconditioned self or truth. The inquiry may start either from the Lord as to who he is in essence, or it may start with the individual with the question, who am I in essence? Either way, it culminates in the realization, I am the infinite truth. Aham Brahmasmi. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om to everyone else.